It's been a few weeks since we went to Classic Car Solutions to have our engine all measured up, and today I wanted to show you the outcome of that, and also the work that's been going on since then and what we've still got to do in order to get our engine ready. So here we have our engine blueprint, and what this is all the measurements that we took with Nathan at Classic Car Solutions. And so here you've got the measurements of the cylinder, so we've got the pistons in the cylinder, we've got the piston bottom, we've got cylinder 1 and cylinder 2 here, so you can read the difference between the piston bottom and the cylinder bore, and then we get the clearance. Now for some of these where we've got new cylinders and we've got clearances, there's no specification in the book for these specific cylinders and pistons, because these are 540, but that's a very tight tolerance, and as you can see they're matching, so that's good news. Where we're taking and reusing some of the existing pieces, so we've got the crankshaft, the con rods and the camshaft, what we can do is actually take the measurement here, so we've got the measurement of cylinder 1 and cylinder 2 all the way down, and we have the tolerances in the manual which specify what they should be, and then we can do the delta to the tolerance, so whether it's over sized or undersized, and what that looks like. And as we can see here, so for the main bearing shells and the main shell bearings for the chain and the flywheel sides, we have some very minor delta tolerances, very minor, but when you get to the actual clearance, which is the main thing we're worried about, they then become in spec, apart from this one here, but that is smaller than the nucleus of an atom. So we're really not worried about a difference there of 0.0002 inches. So despite the fact that's so marginally out of tolerance, we're not going to worry about it, and we're not going to replace those things. Likewise for the camshaft, we've got some discrepancy on the tolerances here, but actually the overall clearance, it becomes back in tolerance, and it's really the clearance that we're worried about here. Now, I could go into real detail on this sheet and exactly the calculations and everything, but the important thing for me is that I now have a blueprint for this engine. So if I ever sell the car, or if I ever have to take the engine out because we've got a problem, I can then retake all the measurements and I can understand what's changed. And when you buy an engine off the shelf, or through a third party, or someone says they've rebuilt their engine, I would be asking for the data sheet, because it's really important to know what it was, what your tolerances are, to make sure it's being built to a good standard. It's also really important, if you do have a problem and you take it apart, that you can check those things later down the line and you can see what has changed, what may have failed, what may have been have too much wear in, and so you can replace those bits and not have to do everything. So this shows, these data sheets really show a quality engine build, and if I was buying a new engine now, I'd be asking for the data sheet. Any good engine builder should be able to give you this information, especially the actual measurements themselves, to prove that they've done the measurements. If you then want to do understand the tolerances yourself, that's entirely up to you. But yeah, done this on a simple spreadsheet, and when there's a few more measurements to go as we start to build up again. But these are the measurements for now, and we're happy that everything is in spec, so that's really good. I also want to show you the engineering work that I've had done and that I'm still waiting on, because this is why the engine build has slowed a little bit. So the flywheel here had some cracking and some evident heat damage. So we've had that skimmed. We've only taken off 0.017 of an inch, I believe, so very fine skim across that. they've skimmed this plane and this plane. I've had to take a slight incline to get onto this plane to skim it, but that shouldn't matter to the function, and it's looking really nice, really shiny and fresh. And then we have a number of other jobs we're waiting for. Now I have some old pieces from other engines that I have stored, so I can show you what we're having done. So here's a crankshaft from an engine that I had previously. Not one that I'm going to put back in a car at the moment, but it's here anyway. And so the things that we're having done to this at the moment are we're having these bits polished, so nice and get them nice and shiny and smooth, and then we have these plugs as well. So there's one that side and one that side, and they're kind of peening, in case you're not aware, kind of means kind of tapped over, so they're locked into place. And these are replaceable parts, and the important thing about getting these out is to clean the inside of this crank. So a lot of muck, debris, horrible stuff ends up in this crank, and we need to make sure it's clean inside, really fastidiously clean. So mine's off at the moment. It's had the plugs removed. It's been in an acid tank twice because it was so difficult to get the stuff out. And when I was actually cleaning my one of these in the tank, every time I cleaned it, you just get dribbles of horrible sludge coming out these holes. So it's really important that you do that, because often cleanliness of the engine is the thing that will make it fail if it's not clean. So that's had a double acid bath. It's then coming back to me. I'm going to take it back to Classic Car Solutions and work with Nathan to give it one last hand clean and then put the new plugs in. So that hopefully should be back with me in the next week or two. We then got, and this is the big end and the small end of the piston. The piston goes on top of here. Missing a bolt here, didn't know that. And your shells go in here for the onto the crankshaft, so they're your shell bearings, and then you've got a bearing up the top here which slides in. This one isn't in here at the moment, so there's no bearing in this particular one, but what you have is a thing called a gudgeon which goes through the bearing and holds the piston into place. And when we were looking at this with Nathan, the gudgeon pin which slides through that bearing was coming out too easily, so it just kind of flew through. So there was evidence of where, and what we want is the gudgeon pin to kind of fall through, but really slowly if you would hold it at that angle. So they're off being replaced at the moment. And then finally, and we have a need to be careful here because I don't want to damage my nice new flywheel. We want this end. So here, no, we don't. Oh yeah, no, we can. So here we have a old engine case, and there, where the oil tubes go through the top to feed the head, we have a cavity on this side where you can clean and get right in here. On the other side, you do not have that cavity. They are blocked up here, as you can see. So what a good engine builder will tell you to do is to remove these, so get those plugs out, then get in and clean really well into here and into the cavity that's there, and then get some new plugs and put them back in and weld them up. Now So we've sent that off, same engine place that's doing the crank and the gudgeon pin bearings, and what they've recommended is to make sure we don't put too much heat through here, is to laser weld these. So they've removed these plugs and it's gone off for laser welding, and hopefully that should be done sometime this week as well. Then all the parts should be coming back to us, and then hopefully we can go back to Classic Car Solutions and start the rebuild. The only other thing that we could get on with, which we're not at the moment because we might as well do it all in one go, is Nathan from Classic Car Solutions has got the head on the engine. He's taken a look at the head surface and determined that we will need to skim it, and it will go off to the same people who did the flywheel to skim that. But he also wants to do some hand finishing or porting on the engine block. So next time we're there we'll do that as well. But as for now, we are just waiting for those engine bits to come back to us from the workshops, and so we can restart the build. So looking forward to that, and hopefully see you for more action on the engine rebuild in a couple of weeks' time.